Hold on. Hello and welcome to Dad and Son.
Hi.
Today we have a very intriguing podcast. Nope, just the same as every week. Here we have Liam. Liam, how you doing?
The same as always, Matt. Hello.
Hello. And we have our dad or son,
or uncle.
I'm
pushing that hard.
George the Weedster, the Weed Manners.
The owner of the Weed Manor.
I'm a man of many talents, many roles, many family relation roles. Did you guys hear the news? Yesterday, smoking cannabis became legal in Georgia.
What?
Shit!
Yeah. No,
What?
It really happened. Like, look it up. Type in Google, smoking cannabis, Georgia. All right. Hit that news tab. You'll see the Atlanta Journal-Constitution didn't report on it. WSB-TV 11 didn't report on it, but there is a very legitimate publication, Georgia Today, a fairly high-ranking established news media broke the story. Smoking marijuana has been legalized in Georgia. Everyone, do not panic. Please stay calm. The Constitutional Court of Georgia released a statement on the decision. That bureaucratic institution that makes the laws of Georgia.
I mean, a lot of other places in America.
Oh,
wait, no. I need to clarify.
Clarify that again.
The applicants here are Zarab Japaridze and Vakhtang Magrileshevi are the people who supposedly got this motion going. Permission to consume marijuana is an act of protection of a person's right to free development, apparently. But yeah, I'm happy to share the news.
I was wondering why one of the older workers at my job were so pissed, and she's like kind of like an angry black woman type thing. She got that kind of going on.
Aren't we all?
She's just like you.
You know, if I can describe her in like one sentence to get like a certain context to this to this story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So think of her as that. And she was complaining that this couple was in the store smoking weed.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, what? And I didn't know until you told me now that it was legalized.
Oh, well,
and
actually,
they were puffing in the store, and she was like, and the customers were like, oh, to her, are you gonna help us? And and she was like, my worker, she was like, oh, I didn't want to interrupt.
Well,
and she was like, "That's rude."
I don't exactly want to like berate your store policies there for flying under the face of Georgia's established laws. Smoking weed's not legal in Georgia. It's legal in Georgia.
Okay.
I don't like people coming in and vaping in my face. I don't.
Oh well, that's what should be illegal everywhere.
Take that outside. Just take it outside. Don't sit there and just be vaping in my face.
They could take a vacation to Georgia if they wanted to do that legally.
Anyway, video games.
Video games. Speaking of things that are so stupid, this is a video game podcast.
With sprinkles of anime.
Introduced for over 10 minutes with the joke about getting George's names confused. Actually, before we move on to small talk, Liam, I have one question for you.
What's that, George?
Very, very quick. As a European, when you hear the name Georgia, do you instantly relate it to the country or the American state?
The state.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a little sad because the Georgia the country is like so much closer to your frame of reference.
Yeah, Georgia the country will also soon be Russia if they're not fucking careful, so...
Didn't Russia invade Georgia in 2008?
Yes, they did. They did. No, it's because, our culture is it's British and American and
language group, I guess.
Yeah, it's like we don't have a very
yeah.
Eurocentric culture. We have a very British and American culture. That's why like the rest of Europe kind of hates the UK. So we are unlike our European cousins quite a bit. Only when it suits us, and then obviously when it doesn't suit us, like Brexit or whatever.
I still feel like European politics is more complicated than knowing which states you're allowed to gamble and smoke weed in.
Yeah, but that's one country. It's one country. Europe is like made up of multiple countries. Like you are one country. You're an American if you're in California. You're an American if you're in Georgia. One should not apply to the other in terms of what you can do. It's so fucking... It's weird.
But Americans love to like deify their little countryside that they happen to live in compared to others. The whole
America is 50 countries in one big country. That's what America is. It's like 50 little countries in one big country, and you're all just like hating on each other, changing the rules depending on how you feel. It's crazy.
I mean, that's true.
You guys are crazy. Yeah. What video games have you crazy Americans been playing anyway?
I actually
you've been playing
the
game together. You guys, like, that was the segue into what you two specifically have been playing together.
We've been playing the big one.
You have to be
holiday
careful.
Season smash hit.
You have to be careful about what you say, though, right?
Yes. We're under a very tight, strictly enforced embargo.
For a game that's already been out for 6 months.
I'm pretty sure George will have to cut a lot of the stuff I'm going to say about this game. So let's continue.
So we got a 3-hour time limit to stream the game. Review embargo is out on August 7th. This is for the PC port of Monster Hunter World, which I think is like the highest profile, biggest deal game I've ever managed to get a code for this freaking early.
Yeah.
Like, over a week early, man. I got Wolfenstein 2 about 4 days... No, I got Fallout 4 4 days early, and I felt... jazzed about that. I was like, I am a professional.
Look at my Patreon numbers.
Capcom reluctantly, I'm sure they were very, very confident, handed over 2 codes by request for me and Matt Visual to play Monster Hunter World 9 days before launch.
2. I'd like to highlight that. 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you didn't request one because you have no faith in your laptop.
2.
So Matt and I have been playing Monster Hunter World. Liam, I think this is a good-ass game, but holy shit, it's got menus. It's got
menus upon your menus upon your menus. The text is so tiny you can't read most of them.
Everyone's always been talking about how streamlined and easy they made it, and how it's so refreshing to have a Monster Hunter game with a modern control scheme that's not some old PSP, PS2 archaic jank. And I'm wondering if I'm playing the same game. That inventory screen still looks pretty cluttered. You have an equipment item slot that is your item box. It just opens up your item box and it's there on your equipment screen. I'm wondering how it is better. I'll give it that. It's better
that's the thing. Is like it is better, but it's still Monster Hunter.
But it's still smells a little better. Still don't smell good.
So,
Matt,
you can't play story
missions.
You can't play them together.
Not until a certain point, right? No, like there's a certain point in which you can.
Oh, so we haven't gotten there yet.
How many have you played? Have you played like 1? You guys have played like 1, right?
No,
I've been playing Generations.
No. We're in the second map.
Yeah,
you can't play story missions together. You can't.
There's a point in which you can do like SOS flares, and then like people can join.
It still doesn't matter if you haven't completed a story mission and you haven't watched a cutscene. You cannot connect to it.
That's true. Yeah, you have to watch the cuts. Yeah, or the other person has to have watched the cutscene as well. Like I remember there being.
Let me see if I could try to explain it. So
because I remember people talking about
both of you are
this.
on the same quest. If both of you are on the same quest,
complicated.
If both of you are on the same quest, one guy starts it, right? And then before you head out on the quest, you try to join it. It says the character you're trying to join hasn't watched a cutscene yet.
Yeah.
So that character goes in and tries to watch a cutscene, but the cutscene doesn't start as soon as you get inside the map. It starts when you find the monster.
Yeah. So
even when you find the monster and set out the flare, when you're trying to join that person, it says that you cannot join because you have not completed the quest.
Yeah,
therefore, you cannot play story missions together.
Yeah, you can only help other people with story missions you've already done. Yeah.
And only half of... I mean, okay, the monster fight is the real part of the mission, but it's... Me and Matt, like, actually tried to sync up to get to the point I was at in the story together.
Yeah.
And it was still incredibly cumbersome, like, having to work around that system and wait for the cutscene. I've just settled with playing the story missions alone and the optionals with Matt.
Yeah, optionals and investigations.
Oh, yeah, there's investigations, there's optional quests, assigned quests, bounties. There's this terminology to it. I wonder if it's easier to handle in the Japanese version, but like a lot of the menus that they have are buried under other menus with kind of misleading labels. Like I think I was looking for the tutorials, and of all the menus that I could find the tutorials in, it was a sub-menu of the play guide, which, you know, I guess makes sense, but there were only two options underneath play guide, tutorials and tips. They could just change that text, play guide, change it to tutorials and tips. But I don't know. It sucks, like, top-loading the bad stuff. Matt seems more negative on it than me right now because I really actually enjoy the like core gameplay loop. I think
no. I just don't enjoy the bad stuff. Like being able to upgrade your armor and stuff like that. Like
you can preview the whole set at a time.
You know how much time you invest just trying to learn where the menus are located? When I tried to upgrade my armor, I was like, how do I upgrade my hammer? It won't work. I can't go down to the bone part of it. And like people say this online. And the reason why is that you have to click LB or whatever you're using, go to the next screen where all your equipped items are, and then click that. And then you can upgrade. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But, okay, I do enjoy monster hunting. I do enjoy that. And that's kind of like the point of the game, right? And watching the monsters fight each other and watching all three monsters come up and look at each other and seeing what's going to happen. Some of them run away with the,
there's
because
a
they're too
stealth
scared.
system.
Yeah, like it feels like when I was talking about Dauntless. Dauntless, it's kind of bare bones. Like you're just fighting a boss fight. The monsters don't seem realistic. They don't seem like actual characters in the world. It just seems like you're playing a game. When Monster Hunter, it has this nice immersive feel to it, like just the way you walking through the desert and finding footprints and the little scout flies kind of give you a little breadcrumb trail.
Really get sucked into the tracking
the ecosystem of that game is fucking cool.
I remember you mentioning that in February. You said it felt so great to be part of an ecosystem, and I was wondering, like, what, Monster Hunter? Because the portables, they're a lot more arcadey than this one, even though it's more or less like the same. I'm really surprised at how much of the game they carried over from the portables, but it moves way faster. There's way more to interact with in the environments. There's way more systems to juggle as you're moving through them. You don't gotta like stop and wait every single time you need to pick something up. And I actually kind of like the Scoutfly tracking mechanic. And the portables, it just kind of feels like you're doing math to track monsters down and paintball them rather than using your intuition. Thank God they don't mark all the clues on your minimap, but the minimap is so freaking cluttered. I absolutely positively enjoy this game when things like quiet down and I'm not, and it's been like a good 2 minutes since the last time I had to get confused at the menus. Because it's also real responsive, which is something the portable games don't have going for them as well. Which I also wonder about the console version you had to play. Oh, you want to hear about the loading times we are enjoying on the PC version on our Acer
do you remember
Extreme
I was telling
Gamer
you,
rigs?
like, the initial one when you load into the game is like 2 minutes long.
Wow.
Guess how long it is for us?
How long?
I want to wager like 15, 20 seconds. What do you think, Matt?
Oh my god, that's
Dude,
awesome.
Dude, when I go back to town, it's almost instant.
Fuck, that's
It's less
sexy.
than 10 seconds.
God, that's sexy.
It's like immediate. Like when it comes down to getting in and getting out of the game, it's so quick.
And
Absolutely
this game
so quick.
is gorgeous on top of all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got to see a little bit of that when I was playing the PS4 demo, but oh man, like having it in front of my face, it's like Battlefront, but with kind of a more like Japanese anime art direction that still is covered with like enough volumetric fog and well done HDR lighting to make everything look like it still could be real. Even though I have questions about the anatomy and physiology of our monster hunters. You notice when you pick up a trail, he like digs the dirt up and smells them?
Yeah.
Humans can't do that. Humans can't track animals by that's an animal thing. So in this fictionalized universe, are the monster hunters like
Monsters.
are they the real monsters?
Gives a whole new meaning to Monster Hunter, huh?
Yeah. I also have a
You are a
question about the
monster that
little old people who live in the town, who look, they have the proportions and the height of the palicos, but they don't have fur. They have like weird flesh. They kind of look like dwarves. Are they dwarves? Are there dwarves in the Monster Hunter universe? Because that would also explain a lot of the NPCs I saw in Generations.
I don't think Liam knows any of these questions.
Liam, you've been playing.
Yeah, I've been playing, but I don't really pay attention to the story or anything. I just want to fight giant
You know what?
monsters.
The story is... don't
Zora
blame you.
Madoros.
The story is just there.
I'm so happy that it's there. You guys don't understand how happy I am that it's at least there.
Yeah.
There's at least like a clear bifurcation between the optional quests and the main quest, and that was a wall that hit me with Generations. Was they don't clearly label which story missions are necessary to progress in the quote-unquote story, and whatever quote-unquote story is there is just a minor problem that a villager has relating to a monster. Like I think I described it as a story that by necessity would have to fit in 3 text bubbles, no less. And in Monster Hunter World, you got a nothing story, but it's given to you like one objective at a time, clearly labeled in the upper right corner of your screen at all times, so you know exactly what you want to do if you want to unlock the next batch of content, rather than just having to grind away at the same thing forever until you finally hit it as you go down the list, which was my methodology for the 3DS version. Now I think I'm just going to hop on GameFAQs. But with World, I'm going to savor and enjoy it and do it without any guides, I hope.
Like the fights, though. Like,
they're so good.
They're so good.
Oh, and the
like
music
even now
is
thinking
so
back
good.
to, because I haven't played it for a couple of months, but like even thinking back now, like the fights are so exciting in World. Like the jump from, they have taken like the core gameplay loop, which was so good of the handheld games, to this HD World where the polish of having it in HD and stuff like that has just upped how exciting and how fucking crazy those fights can be. It's so good.
Hitboxes are smaller, animations are a little longer, way more detailed.
Yeah.
And things
It's truly
feel
like
a
a
little more
duel
precision.
between you and the monster. It's fucking amazing.
I also really like... I got used to the Katana's spirit gauge system. After I played with Matt, I loaded up the tutorial arena and just wailed on some barrels for an hour to figure it out. And there's this like meter management system where you can spend... You, with the katana, you're supposed to build meter per combo and spend it at the end of your combo in the middle of another combo, but there's ways to be strategic about your timing so that you can like permanently increase your damage by letting it all out in 4 mashes of the RT button. It's also like really strategic in a way that I like. That's not too demanding for the multiplayer. It's chill. It's fun once you finish clicking through the menus and get out there in the field.
So what weapons are you guys using?
I was doing a charge blade at first, but
That's
then
what. Yeah, I use a
that.
charge blade.
Yeah, it was. My gosh, the skill.
Oh, the combos. Oh, so good though when you get it right. Oh.
And
like orgasmic.
I love weapons that switch around. I just love that type of stuff. I've always loved that in Monster Hunter, and when I saw it in Bloodborne, I gushed over that. And seeing it here is good too, but I actually went to the hammer instead to kind of learn the combat properly, because I feel like I was just like, oh, there's so much to think about with this weapon. There's just so much, because there's so many different combos, so many different ways to do things properly. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just learn how to play the game first. Like I still don't feel it. Like I still don't feel confident to jump off something and hit a monster. Like I feel like the muscle memory is not there, or it's just clunky.
The grappling controls clunky. Never really fully explained what's going on when you mount monsters in the 3DS version. It's a lot more of an explicit minigame, but here me and Matt were like trying to narrow down possibility. Okay, where's the gauge that's telling us if we're supposed to grip? Is it the mini map, or is it your stamina bar? Maybe you can fill us in, actually. How do you know when you're supposed to brace down, hold down R2 on a monster versus wail away with the Y?
I'm not really sure myself. I'm not like the best at the game or anything, but I think it's more just about getting used to the weapon and knowing, because you can see the numbers now, and you know.
No, he's talking about riding the monster.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought you meant like timing like when to press the buttons to do the right thing. Fuck if I know. I just jump off rocks and then
wail.
And then wail. And then hope. Like because
I think it's just animations.
Like when I played 4 Ultimate, I like when the insect glaive was the new weapon. I played the insect glaive a lot, and the good thing about the insect glaive was that you could, vault onto monsters, and it was like it was like the funnest thing. And then you have to hold on to them, and everyone else had to stop, and they would knock you off, and it's like a rodeo. So ever since then, I've just liked wasting so much time trying to jump on monsters. And what I like about World is that you can do like the slide down hills. And like the feeling of sliding down the hill, jumping out of the slide, and then landing and mounting on a monster and riding it is the fucking best. It's so good. It's even better when you land on a flying monster, like the bat, the fluffy bat or whatever.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet.
And then it drags you across the map, flying through the air. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's like, did you play Dragon's Dogma? Did you play Dragon's Dogma? Like in Dragon's Dogma, you could like grab onto monsters. Like you could grab onto like griffins and stuff, and they would fly you into the air and stuff. You can do that like in Monster Hunter. Like you can land on a flying monster, like the fluffy bat, and it will carry you. It doesn't carry you for a while because obviously you've got to hold on. But you can traverse quite a large distance in the map and get separated if it's like leaving an area. It's awesome.
The movement in this game is so precise. Like there's such finesse to it. It feels really good to just tap that stick ever so slightly and casually walk your way through the forest following the trails, rather than mashing that sprint button from waypoint to waypoint to waypoint. Perking your ears up and enjoying the scenery and the ecosystem is such a good feel. You can actually stop and smell the roses in Monster Hunter. What the hell? Yeah, that's not how I thought it'd work.
It gets you excited for each map, because each map has like something crazy happening, and then you'll be searching for one monster, and then all of a sudden you see like some dragon come down to eat something, and you're like, what the hell? Oh hell no! It's cool. It's cool.
It's cool.
It's not many games that give you that satisfaction to, see a world happening around you. You pretty much know everything, and blah blah blah.
It reminds me of Stalker, like seeing these AIs kind of like act out independent of each other, wanting to eat each other all the time. and kind of like juggling the player between them. It reminds me a lot of what I liked about Stalker, a Ukrainian FPS from 2007 is what I like about Monster Hunter World from Japan in 2018.
Man, it's good. And like when you see like why do I keep saying fuck it? It's because I keep thinking of that.
Well, that's what they are.
It's because I keep thinking of the first big monster in the first map, like the actual like T-Rex looking fucker
with fur though.
Yeah,
and little tiny bat wings.
But like when you see that fighting another monster for the first time, like the one that goes under the ground, like the mud monster that know the Baroth or whatever it's called that goes through the ground, and then when they fight each other in that like sandy bit, oh my god, it's so good.
That T-Rex thing is like the Pac-Man ghost of this game. Like you're constantly on the run from it, trying to spiral around and catch monsters before it does. And that's a really interesting mechanic to it too. It keeps you on your toes over the long term, not just the short term.
I remember when I was fighting the Baroth, and you disconnected from the server.
Oh yeah, that's something we got to talk about.
That does happen quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I was waiting for him, and the Barrett, like, when you get it's weird because it's not like a set thing. Like, you fight a monster, they get weak, and, they eventually die or something. They start limping, and that's it. No, like, they start acting weird, like, especially near the end, they go into, like, some berserker mode, and they just want to kill you.
Oh yeah,
want to kill you. Like
that's how we messed up our capture quest.
Yeah, and what happened was we were at the edge of killing the Baroth, and then George, had his little crash, and and I ran away from the monster, and it would not let me go. Will not let me go. So I ran in for like there was 5 minutes where I ran, and then I finally found a cave, hid in a bush. It was far away. And it slowly sniffed me out after about, let's see, what was it, 4 minutes that we were talking?
Matt Musk.
Yeah, just sniffing me out. It wouldn't just give up. You know how monsters kind of give up? They're like, oh, we don't see you, so we're giving up. No.
Yeah.
It sat
just
there
like the
roaring,
tutorial.
And it eventually found me inside of a bush hiding.
Remember in the tutorial when you hide in a bush and all the raptors just walk away? And it's a bush like right in front of them in their view?
Yeah. That did not work.
You can't do that after the tutorial.
Yeah. And the Baroth had no line of sight on me. No line of sight. He was way around the corner. It was a great moment, and then I killed it. And then you reconnected and stole all the loot.
Well, it's shared evenly between players. I was able to reconnect miraculously to a quest in progress, which sounds like a cool quality of life feature to make Monster Hunter a little more convenient. However, there is a terrible crash bug plaguing the PC version right now. It's hitting me hard, Matt, not so much. But you still have gotten your crashes, right, Matt?
Yeah, I've had about 2.
Full disclosure, like, the game isn't out yet. So it's gonna have a day 1 patch. So
they say they are working on a patch on this issue that the elites of the gaming media here on the Dad and Sons podcast are ready to reveal to you. Hopefully this thing's fixed before launch. I feel like if they do fix the crashing bug, it'll be fine. I mean, performance is kind of an issue, but if you turn volumetric fog down to low, you're probably gonna be good. Frame rate for me on a 1070 Ti hovers between 60 and 70. Matt, do you want to take a gander at what kind of performance you're getting?
I'm capping it. Well, we'll see. When I was playing on a 1080p screen, that just caps it. I have a 1080 Ti, and on a 1440, if you have a 1440, I was playing around 70-ish frames.
I mean, besides the crashing, it's a perfectly fine port. It still retains the weird menus. One thing that I think a lot of us were hoping for was that they'd use the mouse and keyboard control scheme to kind of like give you an item hotbar. You know how when they made the PC version of Mass Effect, it had a completely different interface for the mouse and keyboard? They did not go that far with this one, but they still tried. You know what one weird feature they utilize is Steam Groups. It tries to arrange you into social connections with other hunters by way of your primary Steam group, which is a very strange decision that makes me think that the Japanese people who made this game don't know how underutilized and ignored the Steam Groups feature is, but it also shows that they were paying attention to the platform they were porting it on and using platform-specific features that show that it is more than just a quick and dirty port job.
It's weird because they definitely have faith in it because, you know, it was meant to release a little later.
3.5 million pre-orders.
Well, exactly. And it was meant to release a little later in the year, but obviously they're like, no, this is pretty damn good. Now we're just going to release it early and get it out in the summer because there's no other big games coming out. Let's just get it out now.
Except for Monster Hunter Generations on the Switch.
But even that is, like, I think, like a completely different audience. So
I'm wondering, though, because I feel like I would be more tempted to buy Monster Hunter on the Switch, transfer my save game from the 3DS over, and just carry it around as a bigger, prettier portable screen to play the same game on. Except now I have a way bigger, way prettier way to play Monster Hunter around this time of year. So I don't know if this was the wisest launch window for the Switch port of Generations.
Yeah, I don't know if I need 2 Monster Hunter games, but that's just me. Even though I'm pretty sure people would like a portable Monster Hunter if they love Monster Hunter.
I mean, maybe the next generation of portables can do World. We'll see as the years go on. I have a feeling that this might be the like a generational milestone they'll use as a template for the next couple iterations, like how much of that PS2 DNA was in the previous games. Maybe World's DNA will follow the series as it goes further. I'm wondering if it's going to be tough going back to Generations after this.
It's probably going to be tough.
That's what I'm wondering about. I'm like thinking, do I even bother picking up Generations for the Switch? I mean, Monster Hunter on the go is obviously great, and the handheld versions are great, but unless Generations has, and I've seen, you know, gameplay of the Double X Cross for the Switch. And, you know, it has like kind of updated graphics, but nothing of the level of World, of course. And like, if I'm gonna play a Monster Hunter game, I might as well just continue playing World.
Yeah.
Instead of forking out like full price for Generations on the Switch.
Because once you go to World, it's probably going to be hard to go back.
Yeah. Once you go World, you can't go back.
I mean, that game is fucking beautiful as well. God damn.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
God damn. God damn.
It's so gorgeous.
Is that your American accent?
God damn.
Cowboy?
God damn.
God damn.
God damn. Give me some cheeseburger.
Oh, wow.
Are you ready to go on a road trip to Vegas where you can gamble legally?
Smoke weed?
No, is weed legal in Nevada?
The fact that you have to ask that and it's legal in other places is a ridiculous concept.
But it gives you an excuse to spend money on businesses over there.
Oh God! Anyway,
I'm sure that's not like the intention, but still, Colorado is enjoying a huge like windfall of tourism revenue past couple years. I think $12 million is what they're making on taxes on it. Anyways, what else we got besides weed, Monster Hunter?
I played another phone game.
Let's hear it. Is it gonna make everyone mad like Bang Girls?
Maybe. Everyone got mad at me about Bang Girls, supposedly. Okay, so I didn't understand one thing about Bang Girls, but everything else is...
What was that?
Like, the flame thing that I said you have to pay to use a song is actually the stuff you use as a multiplier. So, like, you can give more flames to get better multiplier score, I think, or better rewards. But if you run out of flames, then you obviously don't get any rewards from the songs you're doing. Also, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, if you fail the song, you just quit and then try again, and you don't have to use any of the energy or the stars. And it's like, the fucking game takes ages. Like, you got all these girls talking, and then it gets into the song, and then they talk, like, after the song. It's like, I'd rather just pay the energy to fucking carry on with the song. Anyway,
why even play the game? That's
because the rhythm game part is good.
But this is what you've been reduced to. You're playing cell phone games now.
I know. I'm truly become Japanese. Actually, speaking of, I got my 3-year visa today, which fucking finally.
You're taking one step after another by the day.
I know. First it was phone games, then it was visa, then it's killing myself working too much. I don't know. What's the progression curve? But anyway, I've been playing another phone game.
Which one is it this time?
No.
This one.
No.
This one.
No.
This one.
This one, Matt.
What one is it?
No.
It's Shin Megami Tensei Liberation DX2 or D-Cross 2.
What?
Okay.
Oh my god.
So,
okay,
Shin Megami Tensei, obviously, Atlus's, famous RPG series, not the Persona games, that's a spin-off series of the Shin Megami Tensei series. The Shin Megami Tensei series, the hardcore RPGs, like going back to the PlayStation 1, obviously we had Shin Megami Tensei 4 for the DS. We had, Shin Megami Tensei Anarchy, I think it was called in Japan, or whatever it was called. It was like a remake of that. But anyway, they brought out a phone game, and I saw a Pro Jared video where he was sponsored to play it, and I was like, oh, I forgot they announced this and then never spoke about it, and now they've released it. I watched some gameplay of it. It looked okay. Like, it had all the Shin Megami Tensei demons in it and stuff that I recognized, Jack Frost and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, it's free, I'll check it out. So I downloaded it because it got released last week. And I was like, hey, look at me playing phone games. Ha ha. And I started playing it. And it's pretty good.
What's the catch?
I don't know yet. This is the thing. I don't really know.
It's gotta be a catch if it's free.
There's gotta be a catch somewhere, right? But so far, I'm really liking it. Like, it's like got a full-on RPG story that's going on. Like, the RPG story is nonsense, of course, but it's great. It takes place in modern-day Tokyo, so it's like the backgrounds of the game are like stuff I recognize. Like, it's got like all the knockoff versions of like stores I go to here in Japan, like electronic stores that are really popular. Like the Akihabara like bar that you start in is like, I recognize all of the different corners of it, and it's really cool. But then in the gameplay,
I saw that. It's like right in front of the Sega building.
Yeah, right in front of the Sega arcade on the corner. Yeah,
I was like, I've been there. Oh my god!
Like, and I get a real big kick out of that. Like, some of the people who play Yakuza who have been to like Shinjuku, or they've been to Osaka and they've been to Dotonbori, they get a kick out of seeing that. Like, this is like that as well, and like they talk about a lot of like things that are happening in Japan right now, which is really cool as well. But the story is based around, it's so dumb but clever at the same time. It's like pseudo trying to be realistic. Like, you are what's called like a downloader. You're like, I think it's downloader. Yeah, you're like a downloader.
That's what I am in real life.
And you've downloaded this secret app that allows you to fight with demons. And obviously the app is the game. And you're like part of this DX2 revolution, and you're fighting these things called the Acolytes, and there are other people with this secret app that have access to the demon world, and you fight with demons via your phone in Japan, and the demons obviously are in front of you. And to add to that realism, you can have like an AR mode where you can put the demons that you've got in your party, like in the setting of, wherever you are with the AR camera, which is kind of cool to look at them because the demons look really nice. Like, the graphics and the presentation of this are fucking great. Like, it really is like an RPG. It does have a lot of the mobile game bullshit that comes with it. Like, it's always advertising you to buy stuff, but it's super generous. Like, you can have like a maximum, I think, of 20 energy a day, but it builds up the more and more that you get that you don't use. So I have like 100 energy that I haven't used, and it costs like 3 energy to do a mission. So you never run out of energy as far as I'm concerned. Like, I've done the first 2 chapters of the game, and each chapter has about 20 different missions, and all has fully voiced story. Like, not like Octopath Traveler. It actually is completely and utterly fully voiced, Matt. Like, everything is voiced.
Everything?
In Japanese. Yeah, fully voiced with English text.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's in Japanese, but it's fully voiced.
It seems like everyone in Japan does some voice acting somehow.
Yes.
So is it cheaper over there or something? Like, because there's always voice acting in Japanese.
I don't know, but it's fully voiced. So every mission is voiced, and it has like a little bit of story at the beginning that continues on with the downloader stuff. And then you get to the gameplay, and the gameplay is a turn-based RPG like Shin Megami Tensei. Like, they all have the different weaknesses, water, fire, electricity, ice, the force, the physical attack, the light, the dark, and whatever, right? And it has all the demons from the series, and you can then have a party, and you can level up your party, and they all have different skills, and then you can talk to demons, which is like a famous aspect of the Shin Megami Tensei series. Like, you can actually gain demons by talking to them, and then you don't have to fight them, and you can recruit them into your party. You initially start off with like 50 slots, so you can have 50 demons at one time, and then I think you have to upgrade. I've not got to that point yet. But then the way you get more demons is you can fuse them with the demons you already have, like you can in Persona or Shin Megami Tensei, or you can gain some from missions, or you can then spend gems, which is the in-game currency, rolling a 3-star to 5-star demon. So that is the game economy part. But the game gives you gems quite frequently. Like, it's given me at least 600 gems, and it's 100 gems a roll. So I've been able to roll at least 6 different times. And you always get pretty good demons. Obviously, it's between 3 to 5 star and stuff like that. And, the gameplay is like a traditional turn-based RPG, just kind of like a bite-sized version. Not as bite-sized as Fire Emblem Heroes was, but it's like Shin Megami Tensei, and then you can like level up your demons, and then you can enhance them, and you can like transfer different skills, and you can really customize them. There's like a lot to it. Like, there's so much to it that the actual tutorial of the game at least takes like 2 hours. Like, there's that much to it. There's all these different areas.
Check it out.
And then you can do the story. So then you're going through the story, but then it has like a full-blown dungeon crawling aspect to it called the is it the Aurora Gate? I think the name is. And there's this whole dungeon crawling aspect where it's almost like the Tartarus Tower from Persona 3 or whatever it's called. And then you go up this tower like through these gates, and you dungeon crawl, and you have like 200 steps that you can take. And then it has to recharge every 2 hours, I think, or every hour.
How much of the mythos do you need to be aware of?
None at all. Like, you'll recognize some demons from the series and stuff like that, but the whole story is like its own thing. And it's all based off the back of this, you're a liberator, you're fighting with these apps.
You're a downloader.
You're a downloader, and you're fighting to the acolytes. And it's all based around, like, computer hacking and, like, demons going through the internet, and this, like, there's even like a storyline in it where there's this new drug that can only be accessed by VR visuals. So all these people are getting really high and possessed by demons through VR. It's awesome.
Through their Oculus.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
I mean, it sounds great. I just have one question, and that's, if I've never played an SMT or a Persona, but have always wanted to, mind you, would I still be all right?
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Like, as long as you like RPGs, I think you'll enjoy it. Like, I've not spent any money on it. I play it maybe half an hour to an hour a day.
Which is a real good way to sell it to me.
And it, you sign in, you get your login rewards and stuff like that. And the thing I like about it compared to games like Pokemon Go is, and I haven't played Grand Blue Fantasy, but a lot of people compare it to that, which is, one of the top mobile games, is it's like a game. Like, the reason I haven't played mobile games ever is because they always are like pseudo games like Pokemon Go, where there's like no actual gameplay to it. Whereas this is like a full, even Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a game I got super excited about being a Fire Emblem fan, is still like not quite enough. Whereas this is like a full turn-based RPG that requires strategy. Like, some of the missions are super hard and you have to use like the items that you get from the game, and sometimes you run out, which means you might have to buy them if you want to, or you have to wait. But some of them are really hard and you have to truly, it's like a Shin Megami Tensei game. And then it has a fully voiced story. You know, yes, it has like the mobile bullshit that comes with all of these games, but as long as it has like a game that's worth playing behind it, that is fun in a sort of bite-sized capacity, and it's got super good polish, it's beautifully graphically, all the demons look awesome, it's good. So I don't know what the catch is yet. Someone will no doubt tell me, like they did with Bung Dream Girls Party last week, but I'm enjoying it so far. And I think considering it's only just come out and it's pretty generous with the amount of content it gives you, I think it's definitely worth playing if you like Persona or if you've played the Shin Megami Tensei games in the past.
I finally dove into the world of premium phone games with the seminal release from Bethesda of Fallout Shelter, and it's kind of...
Yeah, because exactly, it's like the same thing. It's like a pseudo game. There's nothing to it. You know, you send these people out and they come back and you build stuff up by clicking boxes. Like,
and
it's
if
like
you want to play faster, you immediately have to pay. You occasionally check in to look at menus. There's not... Like, I don't know if I want to call basic arithmetic math strategy, because it's super duper easy to do the math and figure out what your optimal choice is and then move on with your life until the game asks you to spend money on it again if you want to move on with your life faster.
Yeah.
Is my reaction.
Like, there's nothing in this game that asks you to speed up.
Oh my god, that's different. Okay.
And also, even better, is it has a speed up button. It has a speed up button for battles as well. So, you know, if you're like...
It doesn't charge you for?
No. Like, when you're grinding through missions, you can go back to the chapters you've already done. You can choose hard mode. You pay a little bit more energy. But you can go through them and level up your demons and stuff like that. And you can tap in the top corner to make the animations go faster. And you can go through it pretty quickly. It's good.
Wait.
I like it.
Speaking of free things, I want to give an endorsement to Georgia Watch, known to normal people as Paladins. A free-to-play version of that game just launched on the Switch, and it is quite satisfying.
I thought we had a sponsor for a second. The way how you said that, I want to give a shout out.
Well, so Hi-Res Studios
said that in the middle of the conversation.
They put out Paladins in 2016. Everyone accused it of being a blatant Overwatch clone because, I mean, look at it. But it plays a lot slower and tankier, but that also means that, whoops, you don't have to deal with the sudden problem of your counter character suddenly appearing behind enemy lines and instantly killing you and forcing you to wait through a really long respawn timer, then walk back. You kind of have a chance to run away in Paladins and come back when you're actually ready for it. So I feel like there's a little less of there's still a big emphasis on team comp, but it's less of a like fulcrum point that decides the entire match. I call it Georgia Watch because it's put out by the good old boys at Hi-Res Studio, who I believe are up north in some of the suburbs from Atlanta here. When you launch the game, you see that logo, Hi-Res, and I was like, yeah, Georgia, represent. And then it fades in to that really dumb Made in Georgia card that shows up on The Walking Dead and some Marvel movies.
Made in Georgia.
It looks so bad. It looks like a Microsoft Word art from 1998. And then you load into the game itself, and I don't know where they got the music for their menus, which load incredibly slowly. But then you pick your hero and go into the game, and everything's just fine. It's fine. My god, I played that. I played a lot of Overwatch itself. I played the 50v50 mode in Fortnite. I played a lot of video games this weekend, and I'm feeling great. Guys, the 50v50 mode in Fortnite's good! Nothing? Oh my god.
I've kind of, like, my Switch has ran out of memory, so I can't install anything else. One of those is the Fortnite update.
Just delete Mario Odyssey.
No.
Are you ever gonna play Mario Odyssey again in your life?
No, I think I already did. Like, every game that I have on there is games I play regularly, and there's just no space to get the Fortnite update, so I haven't played it since we spoke about it.
So
memory
you're
card.
in need of a little SD card, huh? Well, after
Yay!
the podcast, let's talk. Anyways. I highly encourage the three of us actually checking out this 50v50 mode in Fortnite would be great ass fun. Okay, so you have two teams across the whole map, but 3 minutes in, a storm circle appears that's incredibly small that you're forced to go to. The storm circle appears about 1 minute in for everyone, and around that point, there's like a select core of this 50-player team who start building fortifications on a front. They build giant walls, they build bunkers, and they like set up conga lines of like the rest of the team like sprinting over the edge and feeding themselves into the lines, and the engagement distance is really, really far. And since it's only there's two teams and you have the whole map to scavenge before 3 minutes later, so when everyone shows up, they have armor, they have weapons, that you feel like you have a fighting chance in this mode. And there's so much construction happening the whole time while too. I'm so intrigued that way bigger forts are showing up in this mode than in the regular Battle Royale mode. And everyone's sniping each other instead of like sneaking up and spamming each other. It's really weird how excited I am that this thing resembles a like old style trench warfare moving front of like World War I or II in Fortnite. And it feels really cool to see that big of a collaborative team effort in action. And I am almost as intrigued by all the building and construction that's going on here as I was when I first loaded up Siege and was intrigued by its destruction. It's really freaking cool. I played 3 rounds of it over the weekend on the Switch, and I had an absolute blast. I mean, I think our previous impression of Fortnite was like, yeah, it's fine. But, it went up. It went up.
Doesn't 50v50 completely change the concept of Battle Royale? Isn't it just more of a traditional big team deathmatch?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Battle Royale anymore. It's a big team deathmatch where everyone has to squeeze into a tight little circle. But since the tight little circle itself is like... I don't know what the let's say like a third to a half of a kilometer. No, it's not a half of a kilometer, definitely, but it's a much smaller area than the typical Battle Royale storm circle shrinks down to, but with a large concentration of players, which means stalemates happen. The downside to it is that whatever team loses probably experiences a very long, slow, very difficult to turn defeat, but seeing players build stuff this huge, facilitating strategies this elaborate, I think is worth that cost.
It's weird how you were so praiseworthy of Paladins, but then immediately changed to Fortnite.
Well, I mean, I played a lot of stuff. I also watched Street Fighter the movie in black and white. I did a lot of stupid stuff this week.
Matt, we've gone full George this week. I think Matt's not even here anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, and I apologize. They're cool stories though, and I don't want to snub my friends.
So no, explain to me this thing that you've done, George. So not only have you watched the Street Fighter movie in black and white, you've then been so enthralled by it that you've taken screenshots and made a gallery for yourself in Inga of the black and white stills. Matt, check it out.
Over the weekend I had a party. A friend showed up. They recommended that I watch Street Fighter, the game, the movie from 1994 in black and white under the explanation that the movie by default has incredibly bad coloring, but really good lighting and shadow play.
Yeah, it looks
and
good.
They are totally right.
It looks really good. George, you need to share this.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like the title shot of the actual logo looks so good.
I will. I'll put it in the description.
Wow.
It looks like a really campy movie from the 1940s. Every single close-up of M. Bison... The scenes with M. Bison are made better. The, like, fakeness, the kind of exaggerated comedic undertone that the movie has that a lot of people didn't pick up on at the time is way more pronounced here because everything, like, feels more surreal and fake and alien by default, but at the same time, like, a little classier because it's black and white. But the sets look faker, the costumes look sillier, and fucking M. Bison.
Rest in peace, Raul Julia.
M. Bison's acting it gets ramped up to the next level because suddenly M. Bison turns from a funny cartoon villain into a like old cinematic classic actor performance in black and white. Like it makes Street Fighter look like it should be in the Criterion collection.
Raul Julia was a great actor anyway.
The logos, like as you can see in the very beginning and end, look like some Art Deco 1930s shtick. The composition of a lot of shots in this movie are good by default, and you wouldn't know if the color was on because there'd be these incredibly ugly poop splashes of orange everywhere. But the backgrounds were also extremely blurry, which is an effect better pulled off in black and white than with backgrounds as colorful as they were in this movie. Yeah, the news report for the crisis in Shadaloo looks like an old newsreel from like 70 years ago, even though it's supposed to be this like international crisis in the 90s that weirdly now feels like a Vietnam analog that I didn't pick up on the first time I saw this movie.
God, it looks so good.
Good morning, Shadaloo. You can't ignore that there's a civil war in a southeastern Asian country with a lot of international intervention going on. Anyways.
That one picture of Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, tensing up, and then the one after that of Bison with lightning coming out of his hands.
And the close-up of his costume where it looks like this, like 1930s,
yeah.
The day the earth stood
like
still.
Fucking Zod or something over here.
Wide shoulder
that last
pad.
shot, though, is so good.
And the thing is, when my friend was telling me this over the weekend, I was thinking to myself, like, oh, come on. Oh, it basically, like, came off as, like... I don't know if it was either like the snobbiest thing I've ever heard or the fanboyiest thing I've ever heard.
Just the most pretentious shit.
Yeah, that's a good word because I loaded this thing up like, okay, whatever, let's get this over with. But I got sucked in. I really enjoyed turning it on and off and seeing all the differences and realizing just how important coloring actually is in a film.
Yeah.
And how in this case it ruined it.
Oh, it wasn't just the coloring. Because you know, I was watching an old video game movie from the 90s, which means I had a tab of trivia up in a window next to it. So like, god damn, the story behind the Street Fighter movie is it's a basket of basket cases.
Wasn't there recently like a Guardian article that went into the making of the movie?
Polygon, actually.
Oh, was it Polygon? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty comprehensive, I think.
Polygon dug up all the big players. Steven DeSouza, Ryu's actor, Brian Mann, got interviewed as well. And a lot of embarrassing details came to light. So... Steven D'Souza, this is the guy who wrote The Running Man, Commando, and freaking Die Hard, was more or less guaranteed to be a hitmaker by the mid-90s. He was given a green light on his pitch to make a Street Fighter movie that he knew nothing about other than his kids liked the arcade game. Capcom sent him over a packet of story materials and character information, and he had to casting and story plot synopsis done in like a month. Really, really fast timetable. He hired the actor for Cammy during the plane ride over to Thailand where they were shooting, and like had her start rehearsing lines within the week. Meanwhile, Jean-Claude Van Damme himself, who's supposed to play this all-American hero of Sergeant Guile, has Tommy Wiseau-esque troubles with his Belgian accent. Every single line he comes off is absolutely hilarious, because he is high as a kite on cocaine at the time, apparently. I was reading one source that I think claimed that it was a $10,000 a week habit he was keeping up. He was cheating on his wife with Cammy behind the scenes, and got sued for it afterwards. Yeah.
Because Cammy was played by Kylie Minogue,
the Australian model who the director found in a magazine on the plane ride over.
Found in a magazine. Kylie is so famous. What the fuck?
So that all turned out well, and not really. I think.
Do Americans know who Kylie Minogue is? Do you guys not know who she is?
Yeah.
I think you're throwing that around a little loosely there.
Really? Kylie Minogue? Like, she's one of the most famous pop stars of all time.
Yeah, it's famous. It's subjective.
What? Oh my god, Google Kylie Minogue. This is crazy. You're blowing my mind right now.
Like, Kylie Minogue is banging Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Can't get you out of my head.
Oh, yeah,
do you not know that song? Huh. Yeah, that's Kylie Minogue.
That's from before the mid-90s, right?
No, it was like 2000.
Really? Oh, I always thought that was an 80s song. Huh.
No. Can't get you out of
so
my
anyways, Kylie
blew my mind.
No, Cammy and Guile are doing cocaine and having relations. And Capcom wants in on that. Capcom really wanted to be involved with the production of the Street Fighter movie to the point where they insisted they cast a Japanese actor no one knew about named Kinya Sawada, who could barely speak English. They really wanted him to be the title character of Ryu, but Steven DeSuze wanted the lead to be an American character of Guile. But Capcom was insistent that Kinya Sawada get in this movie somehow. So the director of the movie, who had already cast Ryu and already had his lines and arc planned out, wrote an entirely new character for Kinya Sawada, literally named Captain Sawada. and this guy's lines had to be dubbed after shooting because they were so bad live on set. And they still come off terrible. He sounds like a text-to-speech robot. He sounds like he's trying, I guess. And oh my god, bless his heart. Meanwhile, Raul Julia was actually dying of stomach cancer during this shoot. He lost a lot of weight before shoot. They had to bulk him up, feed him a lot of delicious Thai food, I suppose, and hide how emaciated he was with a lot of makeup. But he still wanted to do fights. He wanted to do his own stunts, and he wanted to bulk up and build some muscle for the role, and he fucking did it. And this guy is like having the time of his life. His swan song performance is M. Bison in Street Fighter, and it is brilliant to watch this actor act more intensely than like anything I've ever seen, and I feel like it's better to watch him act in black and white because you're not distracted by it like keeps your brain more focused on just like the human on the screen who is screaming these lines of comedic villainy. For you, the day M. Bison visited your village was the most important day of your life, but for me, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. $1 bison will be worth 10 of your English pounds.
After I kidnapped the Queen of England. And there's this scene where he's marching through a tiny little model city of Bisonopolis, and he's like, I want to create the perfect genetic super soldier. not for evil, but for good. It's seeing a guy in a costume this cheesy act that intensely in black and white is absolutely hilarious. Oh, this might have been the most pretentious segment the Dad and Sons podcast has ever seen, but I do recommend curious listeners do try to watch Street Fighter in black and white.
I kind of want to watch it now. I swore I would never watch that movie again, but now
Because
let's be honest, it is horrid. It is horrid.
I feel you, but it's a lot of fun.
It is horrid.
Oh my god, are you one of those people who hates the Super Mario Brothers movie too?
Yes, because it's horrid.
No,
that's even worse. No, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The Street Fighter movie is a lot better than that. I
wonder what the Mario Brothers movie looks like.
Like, once you've seen them once or twice, like, I think I've seen the Street Fighter movie at least 2 or 3 times.
This was
You
my
just have
second.
no reason to watch it again.
Yeah. I guess
But
I'm
now-
not quite as burnt yet, but
Watching these black and white seeing these black and white stills, I'm kind of like,
it's full camp now at that point. Like it's the day the Earth stood still. It's all of the movies that like Rocky Horror references in its opening crisis. Turning Street Fighter into black and white suddenly makes it feel a lot like those, like a cheesy old monster movie. Like it's just comforting. Grab a soda, curl up on the couch, and watch with a tab of trivia in your phone in your hand. Street Fighter in black and white.
well.
You and your bullies were driven back by farmers with pitchforks. My father saved his village at the cost of his own life. You had him shot as you ran away. A hero at 1,000 paces.
I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
But why? Why do they still call me a warlord? And mad? All I want to do is to create the perfect genetic soldier. Not for power, not for evil, but for good. Carlos Blanca will be the first of many. They shall march out of my laboratory and sweep away every adversary, every creed, every nation, until the very planet is in the loving grip of the Pax Bisonica. And then peace will reign in the world, and all humanity shall bow to me in humble gratitude.
You still refuse to accept my godhood. Keep your own god. In fact, this might be a good time to pray to him. For I beheld Satan, and he fell from heaven like lightning!
You're off the air.
Hello, and welcome back to Dad and Sons. Today, we have a very important story. That's the best I got.
A stunning tale, a betrayal, defeat, scandal.
Yes.
Sex, romance, conflicts between races of men.
Dreams.
Of the quantic type.
All right. So do you remember when Quantic Dream got exposed in the press?
For what? For everything. For like everything Quantic Dream ever do is like an expose on how shit they are at doing stuff. Hi, son.
So back in
was
it February or January? Was it 2018 or 2017?
I think it was February, maybe.
Because in April, that's when the lawsuits began. But earlier this year, Quantic Dream was the subject of an investigation by a trio of French newspapers who had reported a bunch of quotes from former employees describing a childish, incredibly unprofessional workplace, one in which the two higher-ups at the studio were photoshopping employees' faces onto Nazis and porn stars for a laugh, printing them out, distributing around the studio. One of them quit because they were tired of that shit.
I can just imagine David Cage sat at his desk like, I have written the most pretentious, shittiest story ever. Now time to waste the next 6 hours photoshopping my employees' faces on Nazis. My life is so great.
Descriptions of an overworked staff, of frequently overheard racist jokes were the subjects of these stories before Quantic Dream decided to sue the journalists, claiming that it was all defamation, falsehood, judge him by his work, not his words.
Well, they sure did get judged on the work, didn't they?
Yeah, you remember that, right? He's worked with Ellen Page, you know. That means he loves the minorities. That means he's a good guy. That's all it takes, right? So an employee who had actually quit their job due to the offensive Photoshop images was evidently able to sue the company by forfeiting their usual unemployment benefits, but petitioning for an unfair dismissal and winning some kind of settlement, I suppose, from the lawsuit from that. Don't exactly know how French law works. I don't know if employees can do this in the States. But the process behind this lawsuit is usually used to expose failings in the workplace. It leaves the worker's case in the hands of an independent labor court, which then decides whether the worker should be treated as if they were dismissed or resigned, and whether they should receive settlement and unemployment rights. That's a description of the process from Eurogamer. In this case, the Quantic Dream staff members' experience at the studio swung the court in their favor. The staff members' decision to quit will now be treated as an unfair dismissal, rather than them leaving of their own accord. And this is actually not the only employee who's suing them either, but this is the first time the court had them win. 2 previous cases were dismissed. One has filed an appeal and is keeping it going, though. But with this one as precedent, it's going to look very, very bad on Quantic Dream for lawsuits in the future, let alone their own lawsuit against journalists who were claiming that they were doing this stuff. They just now lost a lawsuit trying to defend themselves, saying, no, we're not doing this stuff. So this just makes those reports seem more true, in my humble opinion.
Well, yeah, it's like entirely obvious now that there was some stuff there.
There was some fire to the smoke
that made this person feel incredibly uncomfortable enough that they had to leave. Like they were bullied into a position where they had to leave, waiving all their benefits, which, you know, is entirely unfair. So if there was nothing there, then, you know, obviously the court would have filed in Quantic Dream's favor, so...
But the evidence must not have been in their favor, Quantic I guess. Dream. So,
are we entirely surprised?
No. I hate to, like, judge David Cage by his work, but you could see a lot of immature, childish attitudes in a lot of his work. And the video game industry is one where crunch and overwork and immature antics in the workplace have grown, if not like any job these days, have grown to become acceptable and tolerated, and that all makes it quite easy to believe.
Just David Cage.
Especially the Ellen Page photo album.
Do we think that guy's gonna make another game? Do you think Sony's gonna stick with him?
I think Detroit did really well.
No, it didn't.
And also, Detroit reviewed well. Detroit.
No, I don't think so.
From what I saw,
it was pretty
play,
fucking mediocre, wasn't it? It was.
Right, Metacritic. It's sitting at like a 78 on Met. Yeah, no, okay, I might have been wrong. That's not reviewing well. That's reviewing okay.
Yeah, mediocre. Mediocre.
But I think the surprise was that this was like the most okayest a David Cage narrative experience.
I like how
the
two highest reviews are like European. One of them being French.
You think there's some bias? Oh yeah, maybe there's some bias there, rooting for the home team. Anyways, we spent an hour and 15 minutes on just stupid shit I did all weekend.
Phone games, the Street Fighter movie, Quantic Dream.
We gotta move on. We gotta keep the podcast.
Look at these thick paragraphs. Look at these chunky pieces of words.
Yeah. Here on the Dad and Sons podcast, we like to watch Street Fighter in black and white, play some crappy mobile games, some good games, while lounging around being lazy pieces of shit in the Dad Den.
Which we found out this week is a van. A 60-year-old van, which we rent for $10 a night.
Wow. Just say that with no context, huh? Yeah. I wanted to search for a cheap place. And it was $10 to go into some guy's old 6-year-old RV.
And the reviews are good.
And the reviews are really good. I mean, you're paying $10 a night. $10 a night. That's like food. And it has a bathroom and a stove.
So this week's Dad Den is a traveling 60-year-old, what is it, Cadillac van or something?
I have no idea. I don't have it.
A 58 cozy Cadillac camper.
It was a camper. It was an RV camper.
$10 a night. So straight from the Cadillac van, we bring you Dad Den.
No echoes.
So who's wandering into the front yard in front of our trailer to pitch us for our
the first person we have stepping up
this time?
we have two this week, both with names I cannot pronounce. The first one is Anthony Pecoraro, who comes to us with his game Pro Wrestling Booker.
Something different.
All right. I wonder what this game is about.
We're getting a little
Metal
different.
Gear?
We were
politics?
searching.
I was wondering.
Does it have stealth?
I was wondering how different Liam's choices would be than mine.
Everyone knows that you
border?
picked. Yeah, can you? Does it play like Metal Gear? Is it Cyberpunk?
Is it the Ideal George game?
Yeah, so we have Pro Wrestling Booker from Anthony Pecario, if that's his name. He says, hello, dads and sons. Since grad school, I've had two passions. Eurojank deep strategy games and professional wrestling. Obviously, two of the highest quality,
good combo.
Why not combine the two?
Highbrow.
Currently, the only games
Thinking man's
European and
entertainment.
American pro wrestling fans can play are simulation fighting games like the 2K series for WWE or Fire Pro Wrestling, which recently came out. This game would be a map-based management sim with a professional wrestling flavor where players can recruit, train, and book events themselves with event quality, wrestler chemistry, and storylines determined via random number generator.
Ooh.
I hope you get to influence that random number generator, because like planning out stories for your wrestlers to do and then seeing how the crowd reacts, I think would be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
having like a dungeon master kind of situation.
Almost, maybe like, what is it? Game Story Pro. What is it called? That like game dev game where you have to like put themes together to make games. I can't remember what it was called. It was like
Dreams.
It was like called Game Dev Story, or maybe
by Media Molecule.
Yeah. So like that, where you have to put themes together and then you see how the audience reacts. Like you do that with storylines for the wrestlers. I think that would be cool.
Oh, okay.
Yes, kind of. Yeah,
Like
the
a
basic
wrestling
game would be
tycoon.
relatively simple. You start in a
okay.
determined year considered to be a starting point of a particular era in wrestling history. So I guess, going back to like the early days of WrestleMania,
When The Rock was there.
Hulk Hogan or something.
Throwing out jabronis, giving
The good one.
people's elbow.
With a stock of certain local talent, each with their own goals, stats, style, and
7 people
personality.
rock bottom.
Yeah, okay. So you have like, wrestlers, randomly generated wrestlers that have like varying stats and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool, or look certain ways. When booking an event, you pay for the venue, assign your matches, determine what basics of storyline you are trying to establish. For example, building a new heroic babyface, establishing an evil heel, and more complicated options would become available. You determine the match pairings, order, and pay.
Oh.
But those that know the business know it's not so simple as watch everyone work perfectly every time.
Capitalized.
So much like Crusader Kings, I would seek to implement certain player interactions that show why an event has the phrase card is subject to change, or some wrestling terms that I don't know about. Injuries, personal issues, getting beaten up in the bar by Marines in Syracuse.
Syracuse? That's awfully specific.
And just refusing to drop the title can affect your matches and force you to change things. So I guess he's basically saying there are going to be like Crusader Kings stuff where you have to solve issues that come up. Maybe wrestlers fall out and they don't want to carry on storylines. You maybe have like a CM Punk type thing where he wants to do other stuff, goes on to UFC or whatever.
I'm also like having flashbacks towards the old 2005 sim game, The Movies. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about it on the show.
That could be a good basis for
where you have
inspiration
to, like,
there, along with
run your
Crusader
own film
Kings.
studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
This
like
is great,
The Sims,
because
but as a movie studio business sim.
Yeah. So he says the rest of the game is financial management and fending off competitors as you try to grow as large as possible to become a worldwide media conglomerate like
Oh my
the
goodness.
WWE or other wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, which has has
Oh my goodness.
blown up in popularity recently.
This is a terrifyingly feasible idea.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
He doesn't mention an art style, but obviously if we're going off the Crusader Kings aspect, I imagine it's going to be quite a lot of Excel spreadsheet looking type gameplay. I hope he's gonna, like, the randomly generated matches, you decide how they play out, but at least I hope you get to watch them.
Holy, this budget paragraph.
Okay. So here we go. I'm asking
Here
for
we
$3.5
go.
million for this game. We will run with a team similar to Paradox of 25 developers working for 15 months.
15 months?
Plus any need for marketing. Reaching out to current wrestling personalities who maybe want to be in the game. Paradox Interactive has gone from a stock price of 7.8 euros to 18.7 euros in a single year.
Price in
With a profit
euros.
margin of 40.74% last quarter. So the deep strategy base game and slow release of DLC model has value. Your Football Manager also is a consistent moneymaker for Sega year over year. The sports market is asking for this. The strategy market is asking for this. And the pro wrestling fans are asking for this. So I ask you, Dad Dan, what you going to do when a relatively inexpensive to make and ultimately profitable game runs wild on you?
Wow, he's putting the case down, man.
Can you smell
Yes.
He's
what
giving us the
Anthony
numbers, the
Picario
chart.
is cooking?
Development schedule down to the months.
Holy hell.
Woo!
I'm liking this.
Do we, guys? I think. Do we have? Let's like look under some couch covers in the back of the trailer. I think.
Do we have 3.5?
We have $10 for the. We at least have $10.
I mean, if we
You
stay
gotta
in the
get the Rock
trailer,
in there.
I mean,
You gotta
if,
get the
if-
Rock and Stone Cold in there, man.
God Almighty! Because you know what I was thinking this whole while was like wrestling pop as like a pop culture pillar has really established itself over the past just 5 years, which means there still hasn't been a lot of like truly excellent games. There's Fire Pro Wrestling, which wrestling fans freaking love, but wrestling fans, I don't often hear them talking about how well 2K is treating them with their WWE games.
like, and that's all focused around wrestling. There's nothing focused on like management. Like, and wrestling has way more than other sports. You've got to manage the wrestlers on your card, how they look and all that kind of thing. Maybe you start out as like a wrestlers manager, and then you gain more wrestlers, and then you can set up your own wrestling federation, and then you compete against the WWE or New Japan Wrestling, and you build up, and you gotta choose the ring, you choose the arena, choose how much you charge people, you choose which cards go in which order to whatever your like highlight match is, the title match. You choose how the storylines play out and whether the crowd reacts positively to that, or you have characters like Roman Reigns that you keep bringing back continually. I'm liking this. Do we have the 3.5 million?
Not only is there's totally an untapped potential market for this that would love it to death. There's also a lot of room for player expression and creativity and customization. I mean,
I don't think 3.5 million is going to get us The Rock. Might get us Kenny Omega, though.
Oh, yeah. Kenny would be down.
Could we get the licenses?
We don't need the licenses, like Fire Pro Wrestling.
Does Professional Football Manager, like, use real football licensing?
No.
Really? It's all, like, fantasy?
No, wait. Football Manager uses the team names and the players. Pro Evolution Soccer doesn't, though. PES doesn't.
Okay, so we might have to, like, make a cheap one first, then buy the license with our profits.
Well, no, what you could do is we can have the DLC packs that run out when we know how much money we're making. We can have licensed DLC.
And then you can see Anthony Pecoraro already has the DLC roadmap, like, in mind.
As long
as
my
god.
Put some time into
my god.
You know, I want some moments like, it was me, Austin. It was me all along. I want that stuff, man.
If it has a super robust story maker, like, not just maybe like, yes or no, do you want this wrestler to fight this wrestler because of blah, and it's like, yes or no. Like a robust thing, like, you can create scenarios for each wrestler, that would be great. And if you don't want to do that, it's like Crusader Kings, where you can automate it and have like a vassal, but like a wrestling vassal, like a right-hand man who does it for you.
But whatever story has to come out has to be like intensely system or player driven. No canned story, but with canned variables to make something like wacky and absurd and unique to every playthrough.
Yeah.
Like Crusader
obviously
Kings.
There's a limit there. But yeah. I'm in.
George? Oh, there we go.
I'm in.
First 3 ins on Dad Den. Well done.
Not a lot of questions were even asked. Congratulations, you get $10 from the back of a couch
we'll find
in our trailer.
3.5 million somewhere else.
This could also be like a way that someone like me who doesn't really know wrestling could like get into it with like a medium that appeals to me, like bubbling up all the fun, absurd story kayfabe of it to the surface, rather than having to watch through long-ass episodes with not really exciting matches. Well, I don't know. Nowadays, they're funner than they used to be.
That's still like what I'd be in it for. I'd be in it for the making them mad storylines, but also charging incredibly high profit for people to watch the events.
Those pay-per-view fees.
Suckers. It's me, Austin.
All right, what's next?
I don't want to scream on this mic.
I just make my fantasy version where Macho Man Randy Savage gets to live forever.
There's Skyrim mods you can do that, George.
I just want to play The Rock. There's 2 things you ran home for in middle school was Dragon Ball Z and to watch The Rock bomb someone.
Matt, we grew up in separate countries, but we grew up the same.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z, then WWF, as it was known at the time.
Yep.
Once I stopped watching Toonami,
Once I stopped watching Toonami, someone told me wrestling was real, and life ended.
Yes.
That's pretty much what happened. That is exactly what happened to me as well.
And I was just like, no.
Why is this no longer interesting? And now as I'm an adult, I'm kind of like, it doesn't really matter. The storylines are what make it interesting.
Yeah. The thing is that the thrill of it was always real in your heart.
And then The Rock
kid
left.
Imaginary, It
got boring.
And I remember The Rock's autobiography was the first autobiography I ever read. Yeah.
Really? That's so adorable.
I know. I loved him. I still love him. But I was obsessed with him a little bit when I was a kid.
Who were you obsessed with?
The Rock.
Oh,
Dwayne motherfucking Johnson, the hero.
Oh, I need to read that. I want to read that.
Yeah, dude, it's from the 90s. You know, he's got like
People's elbow.
awesome looking shirt on. He's doing the people's eyebrow, whatever he does, the Rock's eyebrow.
God. Man, no, that boy was so thick. He was wearing
The people's
underwear.
buttocks.
He was wearing
all
underwear,
neck.
man. I'm not even sure if he had shoes on, man. He was in there. Woo! What a piece of man right there.
Come on, guys! You sound like you're talking about a piece of meat. Let's just let's quit objectifying Dwayne
It's The
Johnson.
Rock.
He has a name, you know.
Listen, he's making so much money in these crappy movies. He's like
the
the
highest
perfect
paid
action
actor.
hero.
How is he
filler right now.
How has he done that? He's the highest paid actor.
Anthony needs
Because
needs to pitch to The Rock.
He's like the new action hero.
Supposedly, that like weird skyscraper movie of his
He's
is
the
like
Bruce
actually
Willis
pretty decent.
of this gen.
Rampage.
That's the thing.
all
Even
of
like
that.
the actor, even like the movies he acts in that are pretty subpar. Like what was the monster movie, the Rampage one?
Yeah.
Even that was like subpar, but still like pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point.
Man.
It's just something to
He's
watch
the-
at the movies.
He's
and
great.
they spit them out so quick.
Yeah, he's
Like
awesome.
he's gonna retire real good.
Anyway,
It's a living.
moving on. We have one more Dad Den pitch. It's got a lot to live up to after
moving on.
pro wrestler booking.
What's that first word, George?
Well, I think Pro Wrestling Booker was just like safe.
It was
Like,
different
but
to
also
every other
exciting, which is the
stealth game we've
perfect
had,
freaking
George.
pitch.
I'm already sold.
Anyways,
We're
Let's
moving
do
a
it.
bit more into
Clock.
traditional territory with a twist. Okay. And I like it because I like the idea of what it's based on. So the next game we have comes from Tom's Mardanekis. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. Tom Mardanekis. And his game is called Shackles of Liberty. It's an MMO
Lofty.
with a Dark Souls combat system and a unique art style. So Dark Souls puts me off just because everyone uses that. But it's an MMO, so I'm thinking it's like Dark Souls multiplayer focused. Which, considering how intense
Have you thought about your
Dark
latency
Souls
though?
can be with
Your
multiplayer,
netcode?
this could be quite interesting. But let's get into it. So the introduction. Yeah, but that's
Dark
that's
Souls
a From
netcode has
Software
always
thing.
been
We'd be
really
building
bad.
a better netcode.
Yeah,
Introduction.
That's the reason why most MMOs are doing the point and clicky thingy.
Yeah.
It's because of that.
Yeah, but you've got to remember how slow, like it's not
know.
high-paced combat, is it, with Dark Souls? It's like one swing that takes 30 frames, and then it's like 50 frames of animation recovery, while the other guy swings at you with the same amount. Anyway,
There's
introduction.
Black Desert and stuff like that. So
There is in Terra.
yeah.
MMO set in a wasteland-ish world where the last remaining remnants of life have all gathered together and established a safe haven, but suddenly the ground ripped open and fire started raining from the sky. Wow, that's pretty shitty. Last survivors used magic to awaken guardians, old spirits that have been on this world before life itself was created. Now it's up to the guardians to protect the last fraction of life from total demise. So I'm guessing you play as one of these aforementioned guardians.
Yeah, like Destiny. This is
Okay.
Destiny.
Oh yeah, they're called guardians as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
I do feel like
Yeah, me too.
I've heard that
Artwork.
story before.
The game looks completely like Journey. So, not even like a little bit. The game looks completely like Journey. When outside of...
Completely.
Yeah.
So everyone's instantly going to compare at first sight.
When outside of the main hub town and the camera is a third person over the shoulder, but once inside the town hub, the camera is third person and zoomed out. And the hub consists of buildings that reach above the clouds. So it's quite a built-up hub. I'm guessing this safe haven is quite the metropolis. The zoomed-out camera will make the building seem even more enormous when compared to the player on the ground. That kind of doesn't seem like it would be quite fun to look at, though. Like with your
Doesn't sound like an MMO though.
Yeah,
Or
like
what if something gets in the way?
And that's the thing is, like, as Matt said, for an MMO, you have so many players swarming around on the ground, so many other players on the server. Like, I get if it's built up vertically, but MMOs don't really work vertically because you can't see yourself. That's why they're quite small usually in verticality. Guardians are the player-controlled creatures who look similar to the protagonist of Journey. So he knows where his aesthetic lies.
The moment you put out a reveal trailer, even a reveal screenshot, it's instantly going to be called a Journey clone.
Matt, you'll love his next line. Hopefully this doesn't get us sued.
Oh boy.
It's Journey, but with Dark Souls combat.
As an MMO.
NPCs are anything like snails with legs and giraffes with wings. That's interesting. He's got like a diverse species, I guess. There isn't anything to classify or categorize the NPCs by their looks.
Okay.
The game will have a lot of pretty sunsets and sunrises. So I guess when he says wastelandish, he wants to go for the Journey type desert with a city hub in the middle.
Well, what is going to look completely like
But for
Journey?
an MMO, that's not a lot of variety.
I just read the gameplay first line. This guy's like the Unity Steelers right here. And this guy's just, you had me at the first line, and then so now you're just
moving on to gameplay. Gameplay, a Dark Souls ripoff, but it's an MMO.
Dark Souls ripoff? You're calling your own thing a ripoff?
Players play as these Guardians, as there is no standard leveling up. Players gain new attack moves and weapons for doing quests and stuff. There is a main story which, when completed, throws the player into a new server where they keep their character, but the world has changed in ways, and the enemies are bigger and stronger. No way this... No way.
Like Anakin in Star Wars Episode 3, the backstroke of the West.
No way this is getting sued. Is his next line.
That's the... Oh my god.
I like the idea of, like, moving on to a bigger and stronger zone. I guess when he means server, it would be a new zone, right? It would just be like a new zone in an MMO.
No, he's just making a very shitty game right now.
Server.
There are also PvP areas, PvP arenas where gaining victories will reward the player with legendary skins. Okay.
Legendary skins, my favorite video game feature in all my favorite video games of my favorite genres of my favorite generation of kids who are into this stuff.
The soundtrack will be done by Paul Anthony Romero, the same guy who did the music for Heroes of Might and Magic games. The music would stick with the same style, kind of orchestral and operatic. Very traditional for these types of games, especially if it's a Dark Souls-esque ripoff. I say.
Oh no, you
ripoff.
have George in a downward motion right now. He's not getting back up.
Guys, I need some water.
Because all the main NPCs die in the end.
Mortality, not the ethics.
Mortality.
The death.
Yes, mortality. Mortality. Sorry, not morality.
The thing that'll happen to us all at the end of these pitches at some point.
But the NPCs will have some character, so players would feel sad and give the game better reviews.
Okay. I'm actually back on board. You know what?
Yeah,
Tom
he's totally going for it.
You're totally honest. You know the game. I don't know if you know the game, but you think you know the game, and that means you know how to pander. So I appreciate the headstrong, eager ambition. You were tackling a project that you know exactly how it's going to look and come out and feel.
Well, they're all going to feel sad and give the game better reviews. Marketing. A mystical trailer will be released, after which an open beta will happen. Big YouTubers will receive mysterious tips and a link to the game's website. I mean, that's not a bad marketing ploy. It's a pretty standard one. It sounds
I think
fun.
when he says tips, he's talking about that sweet corn.
Yeah.
Good job for giving it a glowing review. Here's a tip.
The ones that George and Matt had to do to get some Monster Hunter codes.
My knees didn't get dirty. I'm quite okay.
We didn't mention the crashing and the menus and the.
I mean, technically, you're
really the only
an
two
embargo,
problems.
but it's fine.
Anyways, we're not breaking an embargo.
The beta will be a short demo with enough gameplay for around 30 minutes. Die-hard nerd player.
What kind of players, Liam?
Gamers. Die-hard nerd players will have the option to do 1v1 PvPs during the beta. Why not everyone? Why just die-hard nerds? A Kickstarter campaign will be launched, and this beta will serve as a motivation for people to give up their hard-earned dollars. Budget.
$40 million. Oh my god.
Budget around $40 million. And the Kickstarter money will be used for precious DLC.
Precious DLC. Oh man, what a roller coaster of a
precious
pitch.
before DLCs, it makes me think DLC means something else.
Makes me think of the little imp boy from Lord of the Rings clutching his precious.
No. What is even better about this is that the Kickstarter isn't even for the game. The Kickstarter is for the DLC.
Precious DLC.
It's like, can you imagine someone's like, no, we made the game already. We just want to make DLC, but we want you to pay for the DLC to be made, and then
and keep in mind that on reveal, it's going to look completely like Journey. There's going to be mysterious tips that the influencers receive. Before a mysterious trailer drops, before the beta drops. I guess at the trailer point is where the backlash will start to happen. You got to think of your marketing strategy, because the internet's fucking terrible. Everyone's going to compare it to Journey. They're going to say it's bad because of that. And then you're going to launch the game and make money with it. Then you're going to launch the Kickstarter for the DLC. You know, at first I was like thinking that we were just getting a bad submission. Now I see where he's going. This is basically like a dad submission by Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
It's
this guy knows how to make money.
It's a villainous plan doomed to fail by its own deliberately written incompetence, and the more I got down, the more hilarious it became. You know, at first I was thinking it was like a naive person, but now I think it's Dr. Evil.
I think so too.
I think there's some
$40 million.
There's something to salvage here. Why don't
I mean, Journey
shorten the budget a bit.
Yeah.
Get some people to create a really good trailer and a Kickstarter. Get all their money
before release. I'm assuming, because right now the Kickstarter is scheduled after.
Yeah. We say we shorten it down to like $1 million and hire people to do really good artwork, really good trailers, and then get some actors to act as the developers, and then boom, put this up there.
Probably be more convincing than Dr. Evil himself.
And when they get the game, it's just Journey.
It's just a copy of Journey with like the title sharpied out.
Oh my god.
Burnt on a like bootleg Blu-ray.
If he agrees to these terms,
yeah,
I think I'll be in.
We got to make terms.
I'm not giving him $40 million for this.
So Matt, you're an in. I'm gonna take you're an in.
Well,
yeah,
as Turks.
George, what about you?
I can make profit off of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go the Matt route here. We're gonna have to put some asterisks before I can agree to give you your $40 million. Note that he didn't say what kind of currency. Just budget was around $40 million. So grains of sand is what you're gonna get, Tom. 40 million grains of sand.
We could make 10 sequels to Pro Wrestling Booker with $40 million, though.
Actually, 50,000. 50,000 should be enough to make a
50,000 granules
to make an MMO.
To make a little fake thing. No.
With Dark Souls combat, you know,
even bare bones.
Well, we're basically dropping every bit that makes his game and just taking Journey and putting combat in it. Is with multiplayer?
Because you see, like he says, well,
make a mighty number 9.
They say it's an MMO in the beginning with Dark Souls combat, and as you know, Dark Souls combat is like extremely focused on the 1v1s, but then he says later on that the diehard nerd players can have the option to do 1v1 PvPs during the beta. I think, why not go to the next step down and do 0v0 as like your primary combat mechanic? You can just like control a camera around Journey. What we'll basically do is like reverse engineer Journey, but don't tell anyone this, to put like a no clip mode on and sell it for 40 million grains of sand.
Rein it in now, George. Rein it in.
So yeah, that's my one and only condition.
Okay.
Well, okay. I'm a no. I'm a no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a flat no.
Oh.
So I'm gonna just invest my money in Pro Wrestling Booker because that one's a gold egg.
Oh,
it is.
I mean, you're gonna get more profit from Shackles.
How? You've already spent 40 million on it. You're
Shackles
gonna
we're not spending 40 million.
Wrestling's the moneymaker.
But that's what he needs to make the game. You can't cut him loose, Matt.
He needs
I'm gonna give
40.
him one.
He needs 40 million bison bucks.
Which will be worth 10.
When I kidnap the Queen of England.
Even then, it still required 4 million.
Pro wrestling broker is
broker. You know, and Anthony,
I'm gonna be broke after this 40 million.
Anthony the Legend Pecoraro did specify that this was 3.5 million in USD with the $sign, cross-referenced against Paradox Interactive's latest stock numbers.
That's true.
Oh my
Anthony
God.
Vince McMahon Pecoraro has I think we know what Dad Den's.
Yeah. We
need to get a trademark out for Pro Wrestling Booker immediately
before anyone else jumps on that. Sorry, Anthony the Legend Pecoraro.
It's Anthony Vince McMahon Pecoraro.
Anthony the brutal Booker Pecoraro.
Well, if you think you can do better than Pro Wrestling Booker, or you can make it more hilarious and unbelievable like Shackles of Liberty, send your Dad Den pitches in, motherfuckers, to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. Next week is emails, so please send us your lovely questions or topics, and we'll respond to them.
I feel like now that we've had a good submission, not to say the others weren't, but a failed out submission like that, I feel like game developers might be listening to this and be like, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna go ahead and steal that.
Well, I think Dad Din should be a segment for games you want to see in the world.
Well, there are sports management games, but there's no like wrestling management games where wrestling is different to other sports. You know, it's got all the storylines and all that kind of stuff. Like that makes it unique. That's why it's a very good pitch. Like I would play that game.
I would play that game. I might get sucked into the world of wrestling through that game, thus giving the industry even more of my hard-earned bison bucks.
Well,
if you think you can do better, as said, please send your pitches into dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. Or if, as Matt said, there are games that you feel you would want to play that aren't out there, send them to us.
And until then, thank you kindly for listening to the Dad and Sons audio podcast experience. Yeah. Please, watch your step on the way out, and remember to have fun.
This podcast sponsored by Vince McMahon.
I wish.